6'7", will have 1-inch height advantage as we get ready to start this very important SEC battle here at Nashville, Tennessee. Here's the toss. The ball game is underway as it goes to Calvert of Kentucky. Justin back court. He moves past the dividing line, sets it up with Smith. Down the right side to Krigler, back to Smith. Calvert goes through. And a pass for Smith intended for Calvert is cut off by Vandy's Al Rochelle. High one down the left side to Hinton. He's open to the left and misses. Rebounding Gibbs lays it up. No good. Taken off by Johnny Cox of Kentucky. Knocked away and out of bounds by Rochelle of Vandy. So each team has had the ball one time without a point. Kentucky didn't get a shot. Here's Calvert down the left side to Cox. Back outside to Smith, over to Calvert. Calvert sets, and a 30-footer's good. Jerry Calvert hits from the outside. The first field goal of the ball game, and Kentucky leads 2-0. Al Rochelle of Vandy mows it up. Past the dividing line with Adrian Smith on him. Breaks down the side. Johnny Cox switches off to pick him up, and he passes up to Hobby Gibbs, who takes it out deep. Back to Rochelle on the side. Watches Henry break through. Then watch Gibbs move in there. Tim goes to the pivot, and the pass is out to Henry. A screen. His jump shot is knocked down, taken by Calvert. And it's a 3-on-1 break with Beck and Cox. A pass. Tim knocked it away and out of bounds for Vandy, making a fine defensive play. Kentucky will have it under their own basket. This time Jerry Calvert will put it in play. Krigler and Smith back deep. Calvert passes to Cox to the right. A one-bounce dribble. Here's the jump shot. Good. Johnny Cox gets the field goal to put Kentucky on top 4-0. 1 minute, 20 seconds has been played. Rochelle up in front court. Gives on the pivot to Hinton as Vandy has a single pivot. Hinton turns at the free throw line. Gives off. Tim goes in. Misses the shot as Krigler fouled him from the rear. First foul of the ball game against Kentucky's 6'3" John Krigler. And Bobby Tim of Vanderbilt goes to the free throw line. Tim is up for 2 shots. He's ready to try his first one. It's good. So Kentucky's lead now is 3 points. Tim's second shot good. And it's a 4-2 ball game as Kentucky with the lead. Gets it in front court with Krigler. Breaking for the basket against Hinton. Takes his shot good. John Krigler picks up his first field goal. And Kentucky has their second 4-point lead at 6-2. Vanderbilt attacking with Hobby Gibbs taking it on the right side. Watches Henry goes through. Gives to Tim. Jump shot. It's up short. No good. Rebounding Gibbs. Lays it up. Good. Hobby Gibbs gets his first field goal for Vanderbilt, and it's a 6-4 game with Kentucky leading after 2 minutes. Up in front court. Down the right side from Calvert to Krigler to Adrian Smith. Breaking to the right by Hinton. Lays it up. No good. Tapped by Krigler. No good. Here's a foul. Called against Kentucky's John Krigler. 2 fouls in the ball game, both against Krigler. Bob Polk of Vandy up on the floor, yelling something to his 2 guards, Rochelle and Henry. On the line, Vanderbilt's Don Hinton, 6'6", sophomore center from Rockport, Indiana. He has 1 free throw coming. Fouled under the Kentucky basket. Here's the shot, good. So now Hinton with a bonus shot can tie up a 6-5 ball game. Vanderbilt has twice been down by 4 points. Battling back now to try to get even at the free throw line. Hinton takes the ball, pulls the left foot back. Sights, and a one-hander is no good. Cox rebounds for Kentucky, hits the floor, but quickly gets rid of it to Ed Beck. Up to Calvert, who moves in front court with it. Beck going to the pivot as Calvert moves inside on the crisscross with Smith. Feeds Beck in the pivot. The defense collapses. He kicks it out to Smith. Smith moves to the right. Bounce pass to Krigler. Back to Smith, over to Calvert. Calvert sets, looks at Beck. Calls Beck out deep. He's on the free throw line. Fakes over to Smith. Gives it to Beck in the pivot. Beck turns, breaks to the basket, and walks with it. It's out of bounds to Vanderbilt. Kentucky leading 6-5. As Rochelle of the Commodores in front court feeds a high pass to Tim on the left side with Krigler on him. He gives breaking through to Rochelle. Hooks up, no good. Beautiful rebound by Ed Beck as he hooked it in high on the rim. Moves up in the air, firing to Adrian Smith as Calvert was covered. Down the right side to Krigler, goes under the basket, lays it in, no good. They call Krigler for charging. That is the 3rd personal foul on John Krigler in less than 3 minutes. 2 of the 3 have been offensive fouls. Coach Adolph Rupp and his assistant Harry Lancaster talking on the Kentucky bench across the way. But they apparently are not going to take Krigler out as Jim Henry of Vanderbilt shoots and misses, gets his own rebound as it comes back to him. The shot no good. Beck rebounds for Kentucky. Up the way to Calvert. Has it knocked down by Rochelle and picked up by Hinton. So Vanderbilt's right back in possession, still trailing 1 point. Off the left, here's a break, and Henry lays it in. Good. And a foul against Kentucky. Goal count. Foul is on John Calvert. Jerry Calvert drawing his first one of the game. Jerry Calvert now raises his hand to indicate it's his first personal foul. Jim Henry on the Vanderbilt free throw line, shooting one, good. So with his field goal and free throw, Vanderbilt leads 8-6. Kentucky had the lead 6-2, and Vanderbilt has run off 6 straight points. Here's in front court, Calvert gets it handed to him by Krigler. Whips to Beck in the pivot. Fakes, hands off to Calvert. 10-foot jump shot bounces off of the rim, no good. Taken off by Hobbs, knocked to the outside. Smith of Kentucky is fouled as Jim Henry raced in to get it and hit him from the rear. First foul on Vandy. Kentucky leads 3-2 on field goals, but Vanderbilt on the free throw line has picked up 4 out of 6. Adrian Smith of Kentucky is on the free throw line with a chance to tie up the ball game. Shooting, he missed it. Johnny Cox rebounds, turns around and shoots. It's no good. Tapped by Gibbs out of bounds, and we've got a jump. 16 minutes, 33 seconds in the first half. Vanderbilt 8, Kentucky 6. Krigler at 6'3" has Gibbs in there against him. The tap goes to back over to Calvert. Set shot, good, from 25 feet to the right. Calvert becomes the first man for either team to get his second field goal, and it's an 8-8 ball game. As Al Rochelle moves in front court with Smith picking him up. Over to Henry, crisscrosses, moves to the left, pass to Gibbs on the left side. Cox backs away from him slightly. Pass out to Tim at the top of the circle, breaks right against Beck. Calvert knocks it away from him and out of bounds on the left side. Goes to Kentucky. Adrian Smith passes to Calvert in front court, moving down the right side. 10-foot jump shot, no good. Tapped by Cox, no good. Knocked down on the floor. Cox goes to shoot, and Tim knocked it out of bounds, coming up between his legs from the rear. Jerry Calvert will put it in play with a score tied 8-8. Calvert hands into Beck, who turns and lays it in. Good, and a pushing foul against Vanderbilt's Bobby Tim. It's the first foul on Tim. The field goal by Beck gives Kentucky a lead of 10-8. It's Beck's first field goal as Kentucky works the clever out-of-bounds play as Calvert almost handed it to him. Kentucky, Ed Beck shooting, he got it. So Ed Beck gets Kentucky's first three-point trip of the game, and the Cats lead 11-8. After trailing 8-6, they picked up 5 straight. Rochelle in front court, breaks right, picked up by Cox. He goes to the baseline, under the basket, hooks it back, no good. Tapped up, no good by Gibbs, and they fight for the ball. It's on the floor. Calvert knocks it down, picked up by Krigler, holds on. Krigler passes to Ed Beck. One bounce dribble and a bounce pass up to Smith, moving in front court with it. Over to Calvert, moves to the right, pass back to Smith. He sets, breaks in on Henry, kicks off to Cox on the left side. Takes a long jump shot, no good off the rim. Beck with a beautiful rebound. Hands to Adrian Smith to the right. A fake and a jump, no good. Rebounding this time is Cox, but he's tied up before he can get out of there with it. Johnny Cox at 6'4", jumping against Gibbs of Vanderbilt, and Vandy has 3 inches height advantage at the Kentucky free throw line. Cox tapped, but it's taken by Rochelle of Vandy. Back up in front court for the Commodores now. Rochelle breaks to the right side, picked up by Cox, as Smith is switched off on Gibbs. Over to Tim, jump shot, good. Bobby Tim gets his first field goal of the game, cuts Kentucky's lead down to 1 point. We're into the last 15 minutes of the first half now. Calvert in front court over to Smith. In the pivot to Beck, spins to his right, comes back with a hook. It's no good short, and Vandy had all the rebounding strength. It was Tim that picked it off, gives to Rochelle. So the Commodores attack now, trailing by 1 point. Pass goes over to Henry. Down the right side to Gibbs. Rochelle breaks through. Pass goes over to Henry. Breaking through, loses the ball, picks it up and fires. Falling away, no good. Cox rebounds for Kentucky. Sweeps up in front court to Krigler. Breaking in against Tim. Faked him and laid it in. John Krigler with a change of pace, picking up his second field goal. Vanderbilt calling the first time out of the game as Kentucky leads 13-10. Here's the scoring so far. Calvert and Krigler each have 4 points on 2 field goals. Beck has the other 3 points on a field goal and a free throw. Adrian Smith has not scored so far. For Vanderbilt, 4 points have been picked up by Bobby Tim on a field goal and 2 free throws. 3 points for Jim Henry on a field goal and 1 out of 2 free throws. Hobby Gibbs 2 points on a field goal and 1 point for Don Hinton as he hit 1 out of 2 free throws. So we've just had our first timeout called by the Commodores, with Kentucky leading 13-10. Kentucky had a 4-point lead at 6-2 when Vandy peeled off 6 straight points to take their first advantage at 8-6. Then Kentucky came back with a run of 5 points to go on top by 11-8. Now it's 13-10. As Krigler's just hit for Kentucky, Vanderbilt taking time out, and as the warning horn sounds, we go back to play. Vanderbilt in possession at the baseline in backcourt under the Kentucky basket, where Jim Henry, a 6-foot guard, is out of bounds to put her in play to his running mate, 6-foot Al Rochelle. Here's the bounce pass, and it's back to play with Hinton standing in the pivot out on the free throw line. Down the left side to Tim of Vandy with Krigler on him, playing him a little loose. Fields one in there to Gibbs. It's knocked down in the pivot and picked up by John Krigler of Kentucky, who walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Vanderbilt on the left side of their front court. Henry will put it in play down near the free throw line on the left side. Passes deep to Rochelle. Down the left side to Tim. Tim watches the guards crisscross coming off the pivot. He moves out at the free throw line. His back switches off on him. He bounces one in, and a hook by Hinton's no good. Short off the rim, taken by Cox to the outside. He establishes a 2-2 break, gives over to Adrian Smith, who shoots, and he missed it, and a foul on Smith for charging. It's his first one of the ball game. Adrian Smith tried to bend in toward the basket. Now Tim and Rochelle remain down on the Kentucky free throw line, as Vanderbilt is apparently giving a lot of consideration to Kentucky's fast break. As Jim Henry goes to the Vanderbilt free throw line, where he has hit one and missed one. We got 13 minutes, 41 seconds in the first half as Henry, a left-hander, shoots and hits. Henry will take the bonus shot. Vanderbilt has only 3 field goals compared to 5 for Kentucky. The shot, no good on the bonus, and a beautiful rebound by Krigler, who's knocked to the floor by Henry. Gets it away to Calvert, up to Smith in front court. Over to Calvert to the right. He deep, sets it up, passes over to Adrian Smith, looks down the left side. Cox not there, waits for him. Calvert moves in, then back, and Smith passes to him. Calvert moves to the right, watches Krigler, bounce pass back to Calvert. Cox moves out, Smith goes through, pass to Cox at the top of the circle. Hobby Gibbs doesn't come in close, he gives to Calvert, set shot good. Third field goal for Calvert as he hits from the outside again to make it 15-11 and give Kentucky its third 4-point lead of the game. Here's Krigler knocking one down from Tim, a whistle at the baseline, and another foul on nope, this one's on Tim. Second foul on Bobby Tim of Vanderbilt. Drilling at Krigler, trying to outbreak Tim for the pass, had established his position more clearly than the Vanderbilt forward, and Krigler of Kentucky makes his first appearance at the free throw line. Calvert's the leading scorer in the game with 6 points. Krigler's up for 1 shot, and it's good. He has a bonus try coming. So far in this game, Kentucky with 5 fouls and Vandy with 3 have committed, we would guess offhand, about half of them offensively. Krigler's bonus shot good, and the Cats move out into a 6-point lead, the longest of the game for either team, 17-11. Rochelle in front court crisscrosses, passes down the right side to Hobby Gibbs. Gibbs watches Henry, then Tim go through, gives it to him, and Calvert takes it away from Rochelle. 2-on-2 break, and he outruns Gibbs to lay it in driving. Jerry Calvert with his 4th field goal. Timeout, Vanderbilt. Their second timeout of the ball game as Kentucky has gone into a 19-11 lead with 12 minutes and 50 seconds here in the first half. Kentucky holding an 8-point lead. It's the longest lead of the ball game for either team, as Vanderbilt had moved to within 13-11. The Wildcats have hit 6 straight points on 2 free throws by Krigler and 2 field goals by Calvert. Well, as we have the timeout here for Vanderbilt, their second of the game, let's us take time out for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky, 29 minutes, 30 seconds past 8 o'clock.
Back to Nashville, Tennessee, where it is Kentucky 19, Vanderbilt 11, with 12 minutes and 50 seconds here in the first half of play. Kentucky being led by Jerry Calvert, who has hit 4 of 8 field goals. Warning horn sounds to go back to play as Vanderbilt has the ball under the Kentucky basket. Jim Henry bounces one in to Al Rochelle and takes a return bounce pass. The left-hander moves up in front court with it, passes in quickly to the pivot to Hinton, hands off to Henry going down to Rochelle going down through there to the left side, back to Hinton, back to Rochelle. Krigler knocked it down up in the air. Calvert knocked it away from Beck, and it's picked up by Rochelle. Jump shot, no good. Krigler rebounding for Kentucky. Whips a pass up to Adrian Smith. The Cats on the run. On the left side to Calvert. Quick jump shots off the rim, no good. Rebounding Adrian Smith. Knocked down. He fights into the corner and gets it away from Tim. A one-bounce dribble. Can't shoot out to Calvert to Cox. Top of the circle. Jump shot's good. Johnny Cox, second field goal, and the Cats lead 21-11. 10-point lead now is the biggest one of the ball game so far. Vanderbilt attacking as it goes to Gibbs on the right side. Henry goes through, then Rochelle back to Tim, breaks to the left, jump shot over Beck, in there. Bobby Tim with his second field goal makes it 21-13. High pass to Cox on the left side of Kentucky's front court, back out to Calvert, who sets it up. Pulls in, 20-foot jump shot off the rim, no good to the right. Rebounding, Krigler on the rebound. Out to Calvert, to Beck in the pivot, a hook with no rebounding strength is no good. Tapped up by Cox, taken by Calvert. Out to Adrian Smith, 20-foot set shot's good. Adrian Smith from the outside with his first field goal gives Kentucky another 10-point lead. It's 23-13. Henry of Vandy moving to the dividing line. He's picked up by Calvert as he moves down the left side with a pass to Bobby Tim. Rochelle goes through. Henry goes through. Out to Hobby Gibbs as he gets it. Turns around to face Beck. Jump shot bounces off the rim. Tapped by Hinton. No good. Taken off by Johnny Cox of Kentucky. Rolls out of there with it. Keeps it coming up the court. Does not make the pass expected. Then takes a jump shot good from 15 feet. Johnny Cox with his third field goal puts Vanderbilt down by 12 points and another Vanderbilt timeout. It's the third of the ball game. Kentucky 25, Vanderbilt 13 with 11 minutes and 13 seconds here in the first half of play. Vanderbilt had the lead at 8-6. Since then, Kentucky has peeled off 19 points and Vanderbilt has picked up only 5. That has been so far Vanderbilt's only lead. Since they took the 2-point lead, they've been outscored 19-5. This, incidentally, is the first time that the Commodores have been down by 12 points. But we still are not to the halfway point as Vanderbilt is substituting for the first time Don Bates at a guard to replace Jim Henry, apparently. He's a 19-year-old sophomore from Jasper, Indiana. Bates, 6'1", weighs 150, has 121 points this season for an average of 9.3 a game. So there's our first change. Coach Adolph Rupp has made no changes in the Kentucky lineup. The warning horn sounds for Vanderbilt to put it in play under the Kentucky basket. Bates going at a guard for Henry. With Henry, rather. Hobby Gibbs is going to the pivot. Tim and Rochelle will play the forwards. So coming out of the Vanderbilt lineup is Don Hinton, the sophomore center. Bates and Henry, the sophomore guards for Vandy right now. Back in front court. Bates to Henry down the left side to Rochelle. He breaks out of there to the free throw line and walks with it. As Beck picked him up on the switch, he stopped abruptly and couldn't hold the pivot foot on the floor. Adrian Smith passes into Jerry Calvert and moves back into the attack court for the Wildcats. Down the left side to Cox. He moves out, passes to Adrian Smith, breaks, then spins to the basket, fakes Bates and shoots. Good. Adrian Smith gets another field goal, his second of the ball game, and the Cats lead 27-13. Vanderbilt attacking now with Bates in front court. Passes over to Henry, moves to the left against Calvert, who's cut off of there by Tim, and the foul's on Calvert, charging. Second foul on Calvert. And for Kentucky, it's personal foul number 6, with 10 minutes and 37 seconds here in the first half. Bobby Tim of Vanderbilt goes to the free throw line for one shot. He hasn't missed. Shoots, no good this time. Beck taps across the alley to Calvert, up to Adrian Smith. The Cats got a 3-man defense looking at this fast break, and Smith turns to the right side, gives to Calvert. He sets, the shot, good. Jerry Calvert's 5th field goal, and Kentucky leads 29-13. Up in front court, the Commodores attacking with Bates outside, handing off to Henry, moving to the left, cutting back to the right for a jump shot at the free throw line. That's no good. Foul on Adrian Smith of Kentucky is his second one. 2 shots are being awarded to Jim Henry of Vanderbilt. Henry has hit 2 and missed 2. 10 minutes, 15 seconds as the left-hander hits the first one. 29-14 as the second shot for Henry's good. It's 29-15. Kentucky leads by 14 points. Calvert in front court for the Cats. Hands off to Adrian Smith. Moves to the right. Faces Beck, backs away, fakes to Calvert. Bates ready to come through. He held up, gives to Beck over to Cox on the left side. Here's the jump shot. Short. Calvert rebounds, hit by Tim, and a foul on the play. Goes against Bobby Tim of Vanderbilt, his third one. So each team has a forward on the floor with 3 personals. Krigler of Kentucky, Tim of Vanderbilt, as Calvert of Kentucky makes his first appearance at the free throw line. Calvert has 5 field goals, more than Vanderbilt. Calvert in, both feet right up on the line, a two-hander's up and good. So he gets the bonus shot as he hits his 11th point of the ball game. Kentucky leads 30-15. We got exactly 10 minutes here in the first half. Calvert with the bonus shot takes plenty of time for another two-hander that rolls off of the rim. Beck taps behind him to Krigler, who lays it in right behind him. John Krigler with his third field goal gives the Cats their longest lead of the game, 32-15. Here's Henry of Vanderbilt in front court. Passes over to Bates. Moving deep with it to the left with Adrian Smith on him. Down the left side to Hobby Gibbs. Under the basket, Henry wide open, shoots it and misses. Tapped up by Cox and taken for Kentucky. He's double-teamed to fight for the ball as he bounces it out to Calvert up the way to Adrian Smith in front court. Moves down the middle, pulls up, passes to Calvert. 15-foot jump shot, good. Jerry Calvert with his 6th field goal puts Kentucky on top 34-15. Cats leading now by 19 points. Up in front court, Bates gives over to Henry, staying deep with it. Over to Bates, down the right side to Rochelle. Rochelle waves it over his head, feeds Tim, hooks, no good. He's knocked to the floor as Beck picked him up, and the foul on Ed Beck of Kentucky. For Ed Beck, it's his first foul of the ball game. Vanderbilt's Bobby Tim is back at the free throw line. Tim this time has 2 coming. He's hit 2 out of 3. First one's no good. 9 minutes and 13 seconds here in the first half. Kentucky 34, Vanderbilt 15. Tim's second shot good, and it's 34-16. Calvert gets it, whips a long cross-court pass in the back to Smith, down the left side to Cox with Tim on him, breaks, goes by, Tim lays it up, no good, Beck tapped twice, Krigler, then on the side, Cox, let's see who the official score gives it to. 36-16. Shot by Rochelle of Vanderbilt. It's good. His first field goal of the ball game, and we'll get the field goal for Kentucky there in just a moment. See who the official score gave it to. They're giving it to Johnny Cox. Calvert drives under the basket, turns and shoots. Good again. Calvert's 7th field goal. The one for Johnny Cox, by the way, was his 4th, and it is 38-18 for the Cats. Kentucky on top by 20. Rochelle to Henry, down the left side to Hobbs, off the free throw line in the pivot. Passes in, Bates at the free throw line, shoots, no good to the left. Tapped up by Gibbs, no good, taken off by Rochelle of Vandy. Hooks out to Bates, quick jump shot, open from 10 feet, no good. Knocked down, fight for it, Calvert bats it down, Rochelle scoops it up. Vanderbilt's got it. Outside pass to Bates, over to Henry, down the right to Tim with Krigler on him. Turns, Calvert almost tied him up, knocked it down, Krigler scoops it up quickly off the floor. Goes away, clearing it, gets it over to Calvert as we go into the last 8 minutes of the first half. Kentucky leading 38-18 here in the first half. Over to Adrian Smith, sets, breaks in on Henry, down the left side, charging as he hit Tim, and Tim faked it, falling on the floor. Tim feinted to go back with him and then stopped, and Adrian Smith, on the fake, did not let up quickly enough and committed personal foul number 3. So Smith and Krigler have each committed 3 for Kentucky now. Bobby Tim of Vanderbilt's up for 1. He's hit 3 out of 5. 7 minutes, 46 seconds here in the first half as Tim shoots, no good. Rebounding John Krigler. Kentucky's got it. Vanderbilt gets the defense quickly down court to meet the attack. Outside to Cox to Calvert on the right side. Pass over to Adrian Smith. Back over to Calvert. Over to Smith. In the pivot to Beck. Back a one-bounce dribble. A turn shot over Gibbs is no good. Gets his rebound beautifully out to Calvert. Calvert fakes, drives on Bates to the right. Jump shot, 15-footer, good. Jerry Calvert gets his 8th field goal of the ball game, and the Cats are on top 40-18. Kentucky racing away to a 22-point lead. Down the right to Rochelle, out to Henry. Henry off the left side. Gives one to Bates, down to Tim. Tim in close, about 10 feet away. Breaks down the alley, falls away from Krigler as he shoots good. Tim's 3rd field goal. For Vanderbilt, that's just 6 field goals here after 13 minutes of play. Adrian Smith moving up the back court with a 20-point Kentucky lead. Passes over to Calvert in the pivot to Beck. Off the left side to Cox. Cox takes the jump shot. It's no good off the rim. Gets his rebound, knocks it down to Beck. A hook, no good. Outside this time, Henry picks it up for Vanderbilt. Over to Al Rochelle. That moves up past the dividing line for the Commodores. moves to the left, cuts back to the right, down the middle, shoots. Good driving. Beautiful break by Rochelle for his second field goal. Kentucky 40, Vanderbilt 22 as the Commodores come up with 2 quick field goals. 6.5 minutes here in the first half. Calvert down the left side to Cox, back to Calvert. Moves to the left, breaks on Tim, under the basket, shoots and misses, and a foul against Calvert for charging. Coach Adolph Rupp comes to his feet. 6 minutes, 22 seconds here in the first half. The scorer blowing the horn to indicate Vanderbilt's got a substitution to come in. Kentucky has an 18-point lead as Don Hinton off the Vanderbilt bench checks in for Don Bates. That'll put Rochelle back in the guard with Henry. Al Rochelle is at the Vanderbilt free throw line for the first time in the ball game. Commodores trailing by 18 points. One shot for Rochelle, and it is good. He gets the bonus shot. Vanderbilt's reeled off 5 straight points now after Kentucky took the 22-point lead. Rochelle up for the bonus shot. It's good. So Vandy is pulled now within 16 points. Calvert and Krigler each have 3 fouls on them, by the way, along with Smith. Calvert outside with it now, setting it up, passes over to Adrian Smith. Down the left side to Johnny Cox. Cox takes the jump shot. No good this time. Back tap, rolled out, no good. Vanderbilt's Hobby Gibbs gets it off. Vanderbilt reeling back now with 6 straight points, trying to make it 8. Rochelle passes over to Henry on the right, back to Rochelle, breaking to the right with Calvert on him. Passes into Hinton, knocked up in the air by Calvert, taken by Hinton, fired into the basket to Henry, who spins around, and a foul on Adrian Smith of Kentucky, and it is his 4th one. Kentucky's going to make a substitution now as Earl Atkins comes off the bench. Adrian Smith with his 4th one is coming out as Kentucky takes timeout number 1. So the score is Kentucky 40, Vanderbilt 24. The Cats had a lead of 40-18, and Vanderbilt came back with 6 straight points. And they've got a free throw coming, possibly 2 with a bonus shot. Earl Atkins, a 20-year-old junior from Ashland, is 6'4", weighs 180. Has 40 points this season, an average of 3.6 a game. His best night was in New Orleans when he scored 12 against Tulane. He started last Saturday night in Knoxville, but after getting in personal fouls early in the first half, he was relieved by Adrian Smith, who hit for 16 points and was given the nod as a starter tonight by Coach Adolph Rupp. Vanderbilt on field goals so far has picked up 7. Jerry Calvert has picked up 8 for Kentucky, as Calvert tonight has picked up 17 points here in the first half of play. Johnny Cox has 8, Beck 3, John Krigler has 8, Adrian Smith 4. Bobby Tim has half of Vanderbilt's 6 field goals. We got 5 minutes and 46 seconds here in the first half, as it is Jim Henry going to the Vanderbilt free throw line. Henry has hit 4 out of 6. He's got 1 coming. The left-hander shoots, good. That's the 7th straight point Vandy has scored without Kentucky scoring in between. Chance to make it 8 now as Henry's on the line for the bonus shot. It's good. So Kentucky's lead now is cut to 14 points at 40-26. Krigler gets a high pass from Calvert on the right side, gives right back to Calvert as he moves in close. Then backs away to set it up. Back to Krigler, fakes, breaks by Hinton, goes under the basket, lays it in. John Krigler breaking for the basket to pick up his 4th field goal, and the Cats lead 42-26. We got 5.5 minutes here in the first half at Nashville. Henry in front court, passes over to Rochelle, then over to Hinton, who has come out deep with Gibbs playing the pivot. Hinton moves to the left. Beck playing him very loosely as the big 6'7" sophomore keeps it deep. Down the left to Henry, who's on the pivot against Calvert now. Bounce pass to Tim. Breaks, Cox knocks it down, and Tim walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Kentucky. Earl Atkins strides out of bounds. Passes to Jerry Calvert in the center court jump circle. Calvert moves in to set it up, passes to Krigler. Out to Atkins. He sets, and a 35-footer is no good. Off the rim, the rebound taken by Johnny Cox of Kentucky. 1 bounce dribble, pass to Beck, out to Atkins. Free throw line jump shot, good. Earl Atkins with his first field goal is the 6th Wildcat to score. And Kentucky leads by 18 points, 44-26. 4 minutes, 40 seconds in the first half. Down the right side goes Rochelle, with Atkins staying with him as he takes it into the right corner. Out to Henry, fakes. Calvert falls down and he shoots good, but it does not count. A foul has been called. Or check it. Let's see who it's against. It's on Kentucky. Ed Beck is drawing the personal, his 2nd of the game. Jim Henry of Vanderbilt's back at the free throw line. Henry has had 8 free throws, hitting 6 of them. 4 minutes, 33 seconds as Henry shoots good. Now with a bonus shot, Henry has a chance to cut Kentucky's lead back to 16 points. He got it, 44-28. Calvert gets the pass from Beck up to Atkins. Down the left side of the front court to Johnny Cox. Calvert goes through, Cox watches him, then passes to Beck as he moves in on the pivot off to Atkins. Calvert waves to Atkins to go to the right with a pass to Krigler, which he does. Back to Calvert, driving to the right, 15-foot jump shot, good. Calvert with his 9th field goal puts Kentucky on top, 46-28. Calvert red hot tonight, like a $2 pistol. Down the right to Harvey Gibbs. Back out to Rochelle, over to Henry on the weak side. To Tim. Bobby Tim cocks that arm, whips into Gibbs. Takes a one-bounce dribble and shoots, no good. Tapped off by Hinton, he takes it. Calvert blocked the shot partially, but he got it away. Cox rebounded. Tim grabbed him around the neck and couldn't get to the ball, and Cox held on. Moves up in front court for the Cats now. Passes over to Earl Atkins, who sets it up with Calvert. No forward on the left side. Atkins gives a high pass to Beck, back to Calvert. Wide open as he went right by Rochelle for his 10th field goal of the ball game. Man, this Calvert's eating him up with 21 points. Kentucky leads 20 points, 48-28, 3.5 minutes here in the first half. Here's a right side pass going down to Hinton. Gives it in there. Calvert knocks it away from Rochelle with a foul. It's his 4th one. That hurt Kentucky. Calvert committed his 4th foul. The other guard, Adrian Smith, is out of the game with 4 personals. On the line is Al Rochelle of Vandy's. Left-hander Bill Cassidy comes off the Kentucky bench. Rochelle of Vandy now, shooting, hitting. Draws the bonus shot as Calvert comes out. He'll get a fine hand with 10 field goals and a free throw. Bill Cassidy, 20-year-old junior from Inez, 6'2", weighs 191, has 37 points, 3-point average per game. 8 points against Loyola was his best night. Rochelle of Vandy ready to go now. Pushes it good. 48-30 as Vanderbilt trails by 18 points. Earl Atkins, Cassidy at the guards. Pass on the left side to Krigler, back out to Atkins, who sets it up again for Kentucky. Tries one to pivot to Beck. It's knocked up in the air by Rochelle and taken by Hinton. Over to Gibbs, up to Rochelle, moving in front court for Vandy. Back over to Henry, down the left to Tim. Tim breaks for the basket against Krigler. The jump shot bounces in there. Tim gets his 4th field goal, and Kentucky leads 48-32. We got 3 minutes to go here in the first half as Bob Polk off the Vanderbilt bench is yelling something to his 2 guards. Cassidy in front court, down the left to Johnny Cox, breaks to the corner, slips and falls, holds on, passes to Cassidy. Cassidy moves outside on a one-bounce dribble, looks it back, can't get it to him. Outside to Earl Atkins. Down the left side to Johnny Cox. Cox breaks against Tim to the baseline, slips and walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Vandy. That's twice in a row. Kentucky moved down in front court and did not get a shot. They lead 48-32 with 2.5 minutes in the first half. Rochelle breaks to the right, falls away from Atkins and misses. Rebound Ed Beck and Krigler takes it off in front of Beck. Flips it over to Cassidy, who walks up the back court. Kentucky, with Atkins and Cassidy at the guard, is not running as much as Smith and Krigler, and a foul against Henry of Vanderbilt, his 2nd one of the ball game, as he slapped for the ball and hit Cassidy. Cassidy of Kentucky, the 7th Wildcat to score, and the only one who has not yet scored, is on the free throw line for 1 shot. 2 minutes, 15 seconds here in the first half at Nashville. Cassidy ready with the try. No good. First personal free throw he's missed this season. Cox rebounds, can't hold on, goes to the floor to tie up with Bobby Gibbs. Gibbs at 6'7" will have 3 inches height advantage for Vanderbilt on the Kentucky free throw line. Kentucky 48, Vanderbilt 32. Here's the tap, goes to Rochelle of Vandy. Cassidy had hit 9 out of 10. The one he had missed was a technical. This is the first personal foul free throw he's missed. Pass to Tim on the right side, back to Gibbs. He's open from 10 feet and hits. Bobby Gibbs gets his 2nd field goal of the game to cut Kentucky's lead back to 14 points. 48-34 as we go into the last 2 minutes of this first half of play. Cassidy in front court feeds a high one to Beck, lays it off to Atkins. It's knocked down and taken away by Hinton of Vanderbilt. And Kentucky is unable to get the shots away now as they've slowed down with Calvert out of there. Here's a pass to Henry, out deep with it. Down the right side to Hobb, to Gibbs. Stands there with Krigler playing him a little loose. Out to Rochelle. Atkins stabs and misses for it. Fakes, breaks to the right, goes to the baseline. Atkins knocks it down, takes it away. Gibbs scoops it up, gives to Rochelle. Breaks against Krigler under the basket, stepped on the baseline. Out of bounds to Kentucky. Atkins out of bounds, hands it in to Cassidy, who drops it, picks it up, and starts dribbling. Moving up the back court. Down the right side to Krigler, one bounce dribble, fakes to Atkins, and hands to him on the right side. Out to Johnny Cox, top of the circle, breaks to the right. A collision and a foul. Johnny Cox for charging, his first one of the ball game. So correct us on that. It's number 20, Henry of Vanderbilt, instead of 24, Cox of Kentucky. So it's the third foul on Henry. Henry and Tim have committed all 6 of Vandy's personal fouls as Johnny Cox goes to the Kentucky free throw line for the first time. 1 minute and 2 seconds to go as Cox shoots and he hits. Bonus shot for Cox as Kentucky leads 49-34. This bonus free throw, incidentally, could get Cox's double figures for the night. He shoots and it's no good. Tapped up by Beck, no good. Slapped to the outside by Henry, picked up by Tim of Vanderbilt. Back to Henry as the Commodore's fast break. Over to Tim, 10-foot good to the left. That's the 5th field goal for Tim, and Kentucky's lead now is only 13 points, 49-36. Atkins in front court. Kentucky wants to take one shot at the basket. Atkins hands off to Cassidy. Moving to the left, passing to Cox. We got 39 seconds to go. Here in the first half, a lot of time to go. Atkins moves in the left side and then backs away with it. Vanderbilt not putting too much pressure on defensively. Atkins dribbling deep, breaks to the right on Henry, then stops quickly. Moves back near the dividing line. Atkins dribbling with the left hand right now. 20 seconds to go. Hands off to Cassidy and charging on Cassidy. Well, Kentucky's 22-point lead has melted away to 13 points, and it could be 11 when Henry of Vanderbilt gets through with it. Henry's got a free throw coming. It's personal fouls that's making the difference in this ball game, incidentally, just as it was here last year. There are only 19 seconds the first half as Henry of Vanderbilt, a left-hander, shoots, and he missed it. Beck slaps it over to Cassidy. Up the way to Atkins, over his head. He holds on, but Tim knocks it down and out of bounds. Goes out of bounds to Kentucky with 12 seconds to go. Atkins gives to the official. Quick return pass out to Cassidy. 7 seconds to go. Fakes to the pivot and throws it right into the hands of Gibbs of Vanderbilt. Hinton picked it up. 3 seconds to go. Up to Cox. He can't shoot. Yep, he gets it away. And is it in time? No good anyway. So at the end of the first half, the score is Kentucky 49, Vanderbilt 36. The Cats on a lead of 13 points. Adolph Rupp will come back with his 2 starting guards that each have committed 4 personal fouls, Calvert and Adrian Smith. We expect the Kentucky back line of Johnny Cox, John Krigler, and Ed Beck to remain the same, but hold up for a moment on the Kentucky guards. Vanderbilt breaks out. They bring back Hinton at the pivot, Gibbs and Tim at the forwards, Henry and Rochelle at the guards, Vanderbilt bringing out the same starters. Kentucky 49, Vanderbilt 36. And Coach Adolph Rupp is going to gamble on the early play with Calvert and Smith. So Calvert and Adrian Smith, Kentucky's 2 starting guards, are out for the second half of play with 4 personal fouls each. Kentucky and Vanderbilt line up. Ed Beck is jumping against Hinton with 1-inch height advantage. Here's the tap to Johnny Cox just in backcourt. And the ball game gets underway in the second half. Cox flips behind his back to Calvert, down the left side to Cox, back to Adrian Smith, sets, breaks against Tim, spins, can't shoot, ball knocked out on the floor. He picks it up and fights out of there with it, giving to Cox on the left side. In the pivot to Beck. Beck outside to Smith on the left side, out front to Calvert. Calvert backs away, moving to the right, passes back to Smith. He's 30 feet straight away, gives to Krigler to Beck on the pivot. Defense sinks, he moves to the right, takes a turn jump shot, no good, off the rim, knocked down and taken by Bobby Tim of Vanderbilt. Now Rochelle gets it, moves in front court. Breaks to the right against Adrian Smith. Gets in wide open as Kentucky did not switch. And Rochelle wide open lays in his 3rd field goal, and Kentucky's lead now is only 11 points, 49-38. Here's Adrian Smith back in front court for the Wildcats. Vanderbilt has cut that lead in half, where it stood at 22. Here's Cox breaking through, getting the pass, turns, falls away, and misses. Over the rim to Hinton of Vanderbilt. Kentucky unable to hit here in the first minute of play. Now Rochelle of Vandy back in front court, breaks to the right, crisscrosses, got Calvert on him now, gets a screen, Calvert comes through it, and the pass is outside to Henry. Vanderbilt guards working it now. Here's a jump shot by Hinton, no good, taken off by Calvert of Kentucky. He's on the run, down the middle of the free throw line, breaks to the right against Henry, pulls up, gives to Beck, over the left to Cox. Here's the jump shot, no good from 15 feet, tapped by Beck, it's good. Ed Beck with his 2nd field goal puts Kentucky on top 51-38 as the teams exchange field goals here in the first minute and a half of the second half. Now Henry of Vandy moves to the left, staying deep over to Rochelle. Down the right side, the pass back to Henry, lays it in. Got open under the basket. That's the second field goal for Henry. As Vanderbilt's guards, Henry and Rochelle, are really running now. They've got 4 fouls on Calvert and Smith, and they're trying, of course, to get that last one. Here's Calvert feeding Cox on the left, back to Adrian Smith. He breaks to the free throw line, pulls up, hands off to Krigler. The jump shot, no good. First one he's missed in the ball game. Beck taps, then Cox lays it in with a 2-hand rebound. Johnny Cox of Kentucky picking up his 5th field goal. Puts Kentucky again on top by 13 points, 53-40. The teams continue to battle away on even terms here in the second half with 2 field goals apiece. Henry to Rochelle on the left side with Beck on him. He takes the shot. No good. Beautiful rebound by Johnny Cox on the right side. Passes up to Adrian Smith. Moving to the top rim of the circle. A bounce pass to Beck. Fall away shots. No good. With no rebounding strength, he knocks it to the outside. Hinton backs away at Vanderbilt and lets it go out of bounds to Vanderbilt. Kentucky 53, Vanderbilt 40 as we go back to the play now. Henry in front court, passes to Gibbs on the right side of a double pivot. Passes out to Tim as Beck covers up. He breaks. Calvert took it away from him from the outside. Goes one-on-one against Henry with Tim trailing him. Pulls up, gives to Krigler. Knocked down and fouled by Bobby Tim of Vanderbilt, and that's number 4. Tim of Vanderbilt drawing his 4th personal foul, and that's just the 7th against the Commodores, with Kentucky's John Krigler on the free throw line. 17 minutes, 15 seconds to play as Krigler shoots, and he hit it. He shot into the rim, and it just barely crawled over the front of the rim into the basket. Krigler backs midway to the center of the court. He gets settled down for this bonus shot as Kentucky leads by 14 points. Krigler's bonus shot, no good this time. Beck rebounds, bounce pass outside to Smith. Jump shot, good. Adrian Smith with his 3rd field goal puts the Cats on top, 56-40. They made a 3-point trip out of that one. Here's Rochelle to Henry in front court to the left side. Pulls up, passes over to Rochelle. Quickly into Hinton. Hinton whips one under the basket to Gibbs. Cox backed out of position, missed the shot. Tim picks it up, open from the right. He missed it. Knocked down by Hinton. Calvert snatched it away from him. Calvert moves in on Tim, slapping for the ball, but unable to get to it. Moves to the free throw line. Jump shot, no good. Beck, Cox knocks it up in the air. Then Calvert slaps it out of bounds. Goes to Kentucky. Nope, it goes to Vanderbilt as the official switched around quickly. Now here's Henry breaking up in front court. Passes left side to Tim. Tim got Krigler on him. Whips an outside pass to Henry over to Rochelle. Down the right to Hobby Gibbs with Cox on him. Tim breaks out. Close quarters. The pass is taken away from him by Calvert. Hooks over to Adrian Smith, who goes in wide open. Nobody near him, and it's good. Adrian Smith with his 4th field goal. Kentucky leading 58-40. Al Rochelle back for Vanderbilt now as the Cats lead by 18 points. High pass to Tim on the left side. Jump shot up and no good off the rim. Fight for the ball coming off. Gibbs of Vanderbilt draws personal foul number 1, pushing into Johnny Cox on the rebound. We've played 4 minutes of the second half. Kentucky has scored 9 points, Vanderbilt 4. Johnny Cox of Kentucky, who has hit 1 and missed 1, is on the line for 1. Calvert and Smith of Kentucky have committed 4 personals. Tim of Vanderbilt has committed 4. So Cox with the feet wide apart, ready to try the free throw. Flips it up and in, and the Cats lead by 19 points. Bonus shot for the 6'4" sophomore. Vanderbilt getting ready to make another substitution. Bob Greger comes off the bench as Cox drops in the bonus shot. The horn sounds with Kentucky leading 60-40. 16 minutes in the ball game. Coming out of the Vanderbilt lineup is Don Hinton. Bob Greger, a 20-year-old junior from Edwardsville, Illinois, making his first appearance. He's 6'2", weighs 200 pounds, scored 9 points, a point and a half a game. Here it is on the right side to Gibbs. Back under Rochelle, wide open, lays it up. Missed the shot, and Beck slaps to the outside to Adrian Smith. Up the way to Jerry Calvert, moving in front court for the Cats, to the free throw line, breaks off to the left, gives to Beck out to Smith. He moves to the right, goes for the basket, dropped it out of bounds, and Vanderbilt's got it. Kentucky 60, Vanderbilt 40, with 15 and a half minutes to play. Up in front court, Henry breaks for the basket. Phipps and Beck blocked the shot right off his fingertips. Pulls up and gives to Calvert. Beck doing a fine job of helping Calvert, who can't. He's got to watch defense to keep away from that 5th foul. Cox from the right side misses. Beck knocks it up and fouls from the rear. Ed Beck committing his 3rd foul of the game. Stops the clock with 15 minutes, 18 seconds to play. Many of these personal fouls tonight have been offensive fouls. As we march the length of the court again, Hobby Gibbs of Vanderbilt is on the free throw line for the first time in the game, with Kentucky holding a 20-point edge, 60-40. Gibbs in for one. Stands in and shoots good. Gibbs now with a bonus shot coming. Gibbs stands pounding the ball into the floor. Now from the top of the head, shoots and hits. Kentucky 60, Vanderbilt 42. Calvert gets the pass from Beck up to Smith. Moves past the 10-second stripe. Walks with it. Pulled up abruptly, and it goes over to Vandy. He was threatening a pass down the right side, and the forward moved out on him. Here's Rochelle Vandy in front court to Henry. Down the right side to Gregor. Tim breaks through. Gregor, a jump shot from there, misses. Back up for the rebound, gets it out to Calvert. Kentucky's running 3-on-2. Calvert pulls up at the free throw line, takes the jump shot, no good. Rebounding Tim of Vanderbilt. Out to Bob Gregor. Kentucky with an 18-point advantage, 5 points better than at halftime. Up in front court's Rochelle. Down the right side to Gregor, who goes off of the pivot. Outside to Henry. Down to Tim on the pivot. He falls away from Krigler and misses. Rebounding Johnny Cox. One bounce dribble, and he pulls up sharply. Passes to Calvert. Calvert slows it down now with 14.5 minutes to play. Calvert sets it up, fakes to Adrian Smith, then gives to him to the right side to Krigler. He moves out on a one-bounce dribble, passes back to Smith. In the pivot, a hook by Beck. No good out of there. Gets the rebound wide open from the right, misses again, and Rochelle of Vanderbilt rebounds. Kentucky unable to hit through this stretch as they hold an 18-point lead. Vanderbilt attacking with Henry to the left. Left open as Krigler quickly picks him up. Down to Gregor in the left corner. Back to Henry to Rochelle. Down the right side. Calvert is on Tim this trip. Over to Gregor. Falls away and shoots out of bounds under the rim. Calvert of Kentucky's out of bounds. Passes into Adrian Smith as we move into the last 14 minutes of the ball game. Kentucky leading 60-42. Smith to Calvert in front court to the top of the circle. Gives to Smith. Down the left to Cox. Back outside to Adrian Smith. A one-bounce dribble. Back to Calvert deep and straight away. Calvert moves to the right, retreating a little bit from Rochelle. Smith goes through. Pass to Beck. Back to Calvert. 5-foot free up off the free throw line. No good. Beck made a beautiful tap. Ed Beck reached way out to tap it up for his third field goal, and the Cats lead by 20 points again. 62-42 with Henry of Vanderbilt in front court to Rochelle. Fakes, breaks, and stops at the top of the circle, then gets the jump shot away. Good. Al Rochelle with his fourth field goal cuts the Kentucky lead back to 18 points. 62-44. Cox on the right side for Kentucky. Fires away as Tim backs away, and it's no good. Krigler knocks it down and out of bounds. 13 minutes to play. Kentucky 62, Vanderbilt 44. Wildcats have outscored Vandy with just 5 points here in the second half. Breaking to the left. Henry of Vandy gets to Rochelle on the left side as he moves in close quarters with Krigler taking him. He shoots, and it's no good. Rebounding Jerry Calvert of Kentucky. Whips up to the dividing line to Adrian Smith. Moving to the right, back to Calvert at the free throw line, then down the left to Cox. His jump shot's good. Johnny Cox finds the range for his sixth field goal, and again Kentucky leads by 20 points. 64-44 as the teams exchange field goals. It's timeout Vanderbilt, their fourth timeout of the ball game. 12.5 minutes to play. Kentucky 64, Vanderbilt 44. Here in the second half, Cox, Beck, and Smith have each hit for 2 field goals. Kentucky's being led in the second half by Cox with 6 points, who now has 15 for the ball game. Kentucky came into the second half with a lead of 13 points, 49-36, and Kentucky has been able to pick up 15, while Vanderbilt has been able to pick up only 8. And the Cats have increased their margin by 7 points to this spot in the second half. Another 12.5 minutes yet to go. Both teams playing for this, the critical contest. Vanderbilt has a 3-2 conference record and Kentucky 3-1. We'd again like to remind you to be with us again Monday night over these same stations, 6:45 Central Standard Time, when we'll be in Atlanta broadcasting another SEC game, Georgia Tech and Kentucky. Warning horn sounds with Vanderbilt in possession at the dividing line. Both teams move out, and Johnny Brewer has come into the Kentucky lineup replacing Adrian Smith. Brewer did not play in the first half. 21-year-old senior from Eastern High School. He lives in Anchorage. Brewer 6'3", weighs 182. Rochelle gets the pass from Henry and moves into front court against Brewer. Down the left side from Henry to Tim. Krigler stabs for it. Tim moves out and quickly shoots. It is good. Bobby Tam, with his sixth field goal of the game, more than any other Commodore, again cuts the Kentucky lead back to 18 points. Johnny Brewer moves up in front court. Gives one in the pivot to Beck. It's over his head, knocked out of bounds by Hobby Gibbs of Vanderbilt. Goes to the Cats over the baseline to the left of the basket with 12 minutes in the ball game. Jerry Calvert will put it in play. Calls his play, gives to Johnny Cox on the left side. Fakes one out to Krigler, then flips to Calvert, moving in behind him to the outside. Over to Johnny Brewer. The right side is open. Brewer's got Gregor on him. Pivots, hooks to Cox on the right side as he moves up there. Back out to Calvert with Rochelle on him. Breaks in. Goes to the right corner. Backs out to Cox. Deep to Brewer. In the pivot to Beck. Out to Calvert. He sets. 25-footer is good. Jerry Calvert cuts the ropes with his 11th field goal of the ball game. Kentucky leads 66-46 as they maintain that 20-point lead. In front court, Henry of Vanderbilt down the left side. Gives to Hobby Gibbs. Outside Gregor at the free throw line. Breaks to the right. Gets away from Krigler and lays it in. Bob Gregor gets his first field goal of the game to again cut the Kentucky lead back to 18 points. Well, as it was last Saturday at Knoxville, let's see which team breaks first. Here's Krigler getting it from Brewer, and here's a collision, a foul on Al Rochelle of Vanderbilt. His first foul of the game as he charged in trying to get the ball away from Calvert. Brother Krigler will be shooting the free throw. Krigler's hit 3 out of 4. He'll take one this time with 11 minutes and 8 seconds to go. Kentucky leading 66-48. Krigler shoots, and he missed it. Beck taps it up and in. Ed Beck with another tap in. His fourth of the ball game gives Kentucky the 20-point lead again, 68-48. Now, Rochelle in front court for Vandy. Straight away, pips a two-handed pass down there to Hobby Gibbs. Over to Tim, 10-footer blocked by Johnny Brewer, but he fouled him. The foul on Johnny Brewer is his first one. He incidentally came into the game with 59 points, average of 4.2 a game. Had his best night in Lexington against Georgia Tech when he scored 12. Bobby Tam of Vanderbilt's on the free throw line where he has hit 3 and missed 3, shooting 2, missing the first one. Bobby Tam hit his first 2 free throws and since then has missed 4 out of 5. Second shot's good. And Kentucky's lead now 68-49. Calvert on the right side to Johnny Cox. Looks under there to Krigler, but he's not open. Gives it out to Calvert. Beck goes to the pivot. Calvert threatens, fakes, goes through, and walks with it, and is out of bounds to Vandy. Out of bounds, Jim Henry. Bounces one into Al Rochelle, who picks it up. 10.5 minutes in the ball game as he moves back in against Johnny Brewer. Breaks for the basket down the right side. Takes a jump shot that rolls off in there. Good. Rochelle with his 5th field goal, and Kentucky's lead now is cut back to 17 points. 68-51. Johnny Brewer in front court down the right to Krigler. Moves out on a one-bounce dribble. Gives to Calvert. Calvert moves cautiously against Gregor. Then gives to Beck to Cox. Top of the circle. One-hand jump shot bounces off. Beck knocks it down, but it's taken by Gibbs of Vanderbilt. Up to Gregor. Over to Rochelle, who moves past the 10-second stripe. Moving down the left side, cutting back to the right, giving to Henry, who breaks in against Krigler. Passes it out of bounds. Goes to Kentucky. Calvert passes it into Brewer as we move into the last 10 minutes in the second half of the second half. Brewer in front court, feeds back in the pivot, back to Calvert, collides with Gregor, foul on Calvert, charging, and that's all of it. So now Kentucky has got 9 minutes, 49 seconds without Calvert. Jerry Calvert has been tremendous here tonight with 23 points, 21 of them in the first half. 11 field goals and 1 out of 2 on the free throw line, and he checks out. Getting handshakes from his teammates as Coach Adolph Rupp is calling on Earl Atkins to go to a guard with Johnny Brewer. 9 minutes, 49 seconds to go. Jerry Calvert fouled out here last year, but with only 1 minute and 37 seconds to go. Earl Atkins checking back in. He played as a reserve in the first half and got 2 points on a field goal. He and Brewer will now be at the guards. Smith of Kentucky, Adrian Smith, who's not in the game, and Bobby Tim of Vanderbilt, who is in the game, have each committed 4 fouls. Bob Gregor on the Vanderbilt free throw line, shooting 1 and hitting. Gets a bonus shot as Kentucky's latest trim now to 16 points. Bonus shot, good. Kentucky 68, Vanderbilt 53. As the Commodores now have reeled off 5 straight points on Kentucky. Brewer feeds Krigler on the left side. Back to Brewer moving down that side. Outside to Johnny Cox. Hands off to Brewer. Brewer moving to the right. Passes to Krigler on the side. Krigler breaks in at Tim, then passes to Beck out to Earl Atkins. Atkins backs away with 9.5 minutes to go. Over to Johnny Brewer. Off the top of the circle. Jump shot good. Johnny Brewer from the outside is the 7th Wildcat to score. Kentucky leads 70-53. As Henry back for Vanderbilt whips over there to Hobby Gibbs on the left side of the double pivot. Back to Rochelle. Got in and Atkins blocking from the rear, fouled. First personal foul against Earl Atkins. With 9 minutes, 13 seconds to play, Al Rochelle goes to the Vanderbilt free throw line for 2 shots. Rochelle has not missed. He is one of 3 Commodores who has not missed a free throw. He shoots the first one good. Kentucky's lead now 16 points. Rochelle back to the line. His second shot as Atkins fouled him in the act of shooting. Taking plenty of time. Here she comes, and it's good. Here's another Vanderbilt substitution as they move to within 15 points of Kentucky. Off the bench, Jimmy French, 21-year-old junior from here in Nashville, the only Tennessean on the Vanderbilt squad, replacing Bobby Tim. French is only 5'7", weighs 160, 14 points for an average of 1.2 a game. The Commodores picking up a lot of speed here now, and apparently are going to go out and try to pick up the Wildcats, who have had to go now with reserve guards. Atkins in front court, kicks the ball out of bounds, and he breaks down the right side. Vanderbilt gets it back. French gives, and Henry moves into front court against Johnny Brewer. Breaks by him going down the right side, then passes out to French. Got Atkins on him. Move into the last 9 minutes of play. Kentucky with a 15-point lead. Into Gregor. Quick jump shot over Brewer's. Good. Bob Gregor with his second field goal. Vanderbilt picking up in backcourt. The pass to Beck. Back to Atkins. Kentucky calling timeout with 8 minutes and 40 seconds to play. It is the second Kentucky timeout of the game, compared to 4 for Vanderbilt. And we have 8 minutes, 40 seconds to go with Jerry Calvert having fouled out of the ball game. Off the Kentucky bench comes Harold Ross, a 20-year-old junior from Hickman, Kentucky. He's 6'2", weighs 180. Ross has 9 points this season, a 1.2 average. He has 5 against W&L. Washington and Lee is his best night. Ross will be going to a guard for either Atkins or Brewer. Well, it is Kentucky 70, Vanderbilt 57, which means that the teams have both scored 21 points in this second half. 8 minutes, 40 seconds to go. And the teams have squared away on even terms. However, Kentucky was leading 68-48, and since then, Vanderbilt has outscored Kentucky by 9-2. The move back to within 13 points. Kentucky, on several occasions, 5 to be exact, has been able to open the lead to 20 points, but Vanderbilt has each time cut it right back to 18, and now they've reduced it for the first time since the start of this half to 13. As we go back to play, Johnny Brewer will be at a guard with Harold Ross, and Vanderbilt's going to press for possession. The pass is in backcourt to Ross as Kentucky tries to get back some speed at guard. Ross, deep dribbling, gives to Krigler, deep to the right side. Moves out against Gregor, hands off to Johnny Brewer. In the pivot to Beck. Off the left to Hick to Ross, who shoots and misses. Krigler rebounds, takes a dribble, tries to shoot, and a whistle under the basket. A jump ball has been called with 8 minutes, 23 seconds in the ball game. Gibbs of Vanderbilt at 6'7", will have 4 inches height advantage at the Kentucky free throw line against John Krigler. He slaps it hard and Beck races and lets it go out of bounds to Kentucky. Johnny Brewer on the right side of the offensive court calls his play, passes out to Ross, over to Krigler. He fakes a handoff, moves to the right with French on him, goes down the side, comes back out, pivots, gives to Beck in the pivot. One bounce dribble over to Ross. Breaking through, shot, no good, too high on the board. Rebounding Vanderbilt. Taken out by Gibbs, fed up to Henry, moving in front court. We move into the last 8 minutes of the ball game. On the right, Rochelle is open, and his shot, no good from 20 feet. Rebounding Beck as he hooks it off. Passes up the way to Johnny Brewer. Moving back in for Kentucky to the free throw line, takes his jump shot, and it's good. Johnny Brewer with his second field goal makes it 72-57 for Kentucky, and Jimmy French of Vanderbilt back in front court with 7.5 minutes to play. Down the left side to Rochelle, who's the forward now. Gives over, quick jump shot, good, and a foul against Kentucky. Johnny Brewer with his second personal foul of the game. The field goal for Henry is his third of the game, and he's on the free throw line for one shot, as Kentucky's lead now is again 13 points. With 7 minutes, 28 seconds to go, the shot's good. And for the first time in this half, Vanderbilt has moved to within 12 points of Kentucky. Ross gets the incoming pass from Beck, moves up near the dividing line, crosses, moves to the left. He's double-teamed. The ball is knocked down, but he's fouled by French of Vanderbilt, committing his first one of the game. 7 minutes, 21 seconds to go as Kentucky battles against the personal fouls. Harold Ross of Kentucky, the 8th Wildcat to play, will be at the free throw line for one shot. His first appearance. Ross has not scored in the game. Ross shoots. Good. Ross is the ninth Wildcat to play. Correct us on that. Kentucky leading 13 points, exactly what they came into this half with. Ross got a bonus shot coming in here. It's up, and it's no good. Taken off by Gibbs of Vanderbilt as Kentucky leads 73-60. French in front court for the Commodores. Breaks to the right side, passes out to Gregor. Left open, 20-foot one-hander, way short. Knocked down by Ross, and a whistle. It's knocked out of bounds by Ross as he knocked it away from Rochelle. It hit the baseline, and Vanderbilt's got it with 7 minutes to play. Out of bounds, Rochelle calls his play, gives to Gibbs under the basket, fakes back, lays it in. Gibbs with his third field goal of the game. Cuts Kentucky's lead again to 11 points. This is the closest Vanderbilt has been in this second half of play. Beck to Krigler in front court on the right side. Passes out to Harold Ross, moving to the right. Back for a 20-foot jump shot, and it's no good to the left. Tapped by Beck, no good. Rebounding Johnny Cox, and a jump shot, no good. A foul has been called. Goes against Vanderbilt. Throwing the personal. Al Rochelle is second, and as we wait for Johnny Cox to shoot, let's take 10 seconds for station identification. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.
WVLK, Lexington, Kentucky, 9:30.
Johnny Cox shooting 2 free throws, hits the first one and stands in now for the second one as Kentucky leads by 12 points. Cox second shot good, and the Caps have back that 13-point halftime lead at 75-62. Back is Henry in front court, collides with Johnny Brewer, the foul, charging on Henry of Vanderbilt. So Henry draws his fourth personal foul. 6 minutes, 33 seconds to go, and Kentucky's Johnny Brewer will make his first appearance of the night at the free throw line for one shot. Each team has scored 26 points here in the second half at Nashville. Brewer's free throw good. So Vanderbilt moved to within 11 points. Now Kentucky has opened it to 14 as Brewer stands in for the bonus shot. Brewer shoots, and he hits again. Kentucky 77, Vanderbilt 62. We got 6.5 minutes to go as Jimmy French, a little 5'7" Commodore guard, moves in front court. Fakes to the left and then passes to Gregor. Gregor done a fine job in reserve role here. Over to French, breaks to the right, can't get Ross away for the shot and passes out to Henry. Breaks in, 25-foot jump shot is short of the rim. Rochelle rebounds and hooks no good, and a foul, however, is called against Kentucky. Johnny Cox has drawn his first one of the ball game with 6 minutes and 14 seconds to play. Timeout Vanderbilt, their fifth of the ball game, and probably, well, that is their last one if we're correct, and the scores table is warning Coach Bob Polk that he has called his last timeout. Kentucky 77, Vanderbilt 62. Ed Beck has 3 field goals here in this second half for Kentucky. Gives him 9 points for the game. Johnny Cox, this second half, has scored 18 for a total of 17 for the ball game. Calvert fouled out with 23 points and 9 minutes 49 seconds to play. Johnny Brewer scored 6 points, all in this half. Adrian Smith has scored 4 points for 8, a total of 8 in the game. John Krigler, who got 10 in the first half, has been held to 1 this half. Harold Ross has picked up 1 point in a reserve role. Vanderbilt's Jim Henry scored 5 points in this half and 15 for the game. Al Rochelle has scored 8 and 16 for the ball game. There's the warning horn. As we go back to play, the Commodores are at the free throw line. 6 minutes, 14 seconds to go. Kentucky broke on top by 22 points, 40-18, and since then, it's been pretty much of an even battle. Al Rochelle of Vanderbilt. On the free throw line, he has not missed. Rochelle sighting and hitting. Kentucky's lead now 14 points. Rochelle stands in for the bonus shot. He shoots, and it's no good. Rims out, tapped up by Gibbs, twice and in. 4 field goals for Hobby Gibbs of Vanderbilt, and the Commodores get a 3-point trip out of it. Here's Ross spinning away from Gregor, moving in front court, breaks down the left side. Gregor picks him up. He pivots clear, looks for somebody open to throw to, then gives to Beck, back to Ross, breaking through, hooks it up, no good, rolled off. Vanderbilt had all the rebounding strength. Here's Rochelle in front court, ball knocked down by Ross, dives to the floor and ties up with Henry. 5 minutes, 50 seconds to play as the team battle away hard for possession. Kentucky 77, Vanderbilt 65. Harold Ross of Kentucky moving out at 6'2". Jumping against Rochelle with 2 inches advantage. Taps to Krigler. Just in backcourt. Hands to Beck. Beck in front court to Harold Ross. Ross deep, now moving to the left. Got Henry on him, stabbing for the ball. Bounce pass to Johnny Cox. Spins away from Gregor. Lays it in, driving, and a foul has been called against Vanderbilt's Bob Gregor, and it's his first one of the game. The field goal will not count by Johnny Cox. Cox is on the free throw line for one try. He's hit 5 out of 6. 5 minutes, 39 seconds in the ball game. Vanderbilt trailing by 12 points. Cox hits the free throw, draws the bonus shot, and off the Vanderbilt bench, another substitution. End of the game. Hub Hoagland replacing Gregor. Hougland. Hoagland, 19-year-old sophomore from Scottsburg, Indiana, as Johnny Cox on the free throw line for Kentucky hits the bonus shot. The Cats lead 79-65. The teams have scored on even terms here in this second half as French of Vanderbilt moves back in front court, pulls up deep, passes on the left side to Hoagland, looks toward the pivot and takes a quick jump shot. Good. Hoagland scores seconds after entering the ball game to reduce the Kentucky lead back to 12 points. Here's Ross, had it knocked down by Henry, taken by French, thrown over the head of French. As he goes, Brewer blocks the shot and knocks him to the floor, and the foul on Johnny Brewer of Kentucky is his third one. 5 minutes, 16 seconds to go as the Commodores now battle within 12 points of Kentucky. And Henry of Vanderbilt's on the free throw line. He has not missed in this half, shooting 2 shots. Chance to reduce Kentucky's lead to 10 points. First try, good. Now Henry up for the second shot. It's good. 79-69 as Vanderbilt for the first time has moved to within 10 points of Kentucky in this second half. Krigler gets it in front court, passes over to Johnny Brewer, in the pivot to Beck. Beck holds it out of play, gives it to Ross, moves to the right, then backs away from Rochelle. Bounce pass to Beck at the pivot on the free throw line. Hands off to Krigler, moving to the right, gives to Johnny Brewer. Moves out, breaks left, gives to Harold Ross. As we move into the last 5 minutes of the ball game. Over to Johnny Brewer. Down into the double pivot to Cox, who fakes, breaks, shoots over Hoagland, and it's no good. Cox moves out, gets the rebound, and from the free throw line, he hit it. Johnny Cox with his 7th field goal puts the Cats on top, 81-69. French of Andy back in front court. Comes to the left side, gets a screen, doesn't shoot, hands off to Hoagland, out to Henry. Down the right to Rochelle, gets it to Hoagland, and he holds on against Ed Beck, who came out of the pivot to switch on him. Over to French. French, a bounce pass in there. Hoagland spins to the baseline, falls away for a shot that's no good. Knock it down by Gibbs. He lays it up, no good. Rochelle taps. Krigler rebounds, and the ball is knocked out of bounds. And a jump ball has been called at the Vanderbilt free throw line. 4 minutes, 10 seconds to play. John Krigler of Kentucky mows out at 6'3", against Rochelle at 6 feet, gives Kentucky 3 inches advantage, and Krigler tapped it going up, and it goes out of bounds to Vanderbilt from the left side of the offensive court. Jimmy French hustles over to put it in play. Pass goes in, and moving down the left, the handoff is to Rochelle. Breaks out, Brewer switches on him, pass out to French. Moving to the right against Hoagland, against Ross, who tripped him, and the foul on Harold Ross is his first one of the game. 3 minutes, 58 seconds to play. Kentucky 81, Vanderbilt 69. French of Vanderbilt makes his first appearance at the game with the free throw line. French up for one shot. Over 5'7" guard. Pumps up a right-hander that's good. Here's another substitution. Adrian Smith of Kentucky replacing Harold Ross. Adrian Smith comes in with 4 personals on him. As French of Vanderbilt goes back to the charity line, he's up there for a bonus shot. Chance to cut Kentucky's lead to 10 points for the second time in this second half. French shoots, and the shot's good. So it's an 81-71 ball game. Beck gives a high one to Krigler, who outleaps Rochelle and moves in front court with it. To the right, French knocked it down and rolled out of bounds with it. It goes to Kentucky. Johnny Brewer striding out to put it in play with 3 minutes, 45 seconds to go. Calls his play, pass to Cox on the right side. Cox out front to Adrian Smith. Moves right down the middle, and as he goes to shoot, a foul is called against Vanderbilt. Al Rochelle across the arms is the call. It's the third foul on Rochelle. 2 shots to Kentucky's Adrian Smith. 3 minutes, 37 seconds to go. Kentucky holding on to a 10-point lead. Smith shoots and hits for Kentucky. That's his first one in 2 tries. Got a second one coming now as the Cats lead by 11 points. Smith on the line for the second shot. Hits, and the Cats lead 83-71. French of Vandy wheels quickly back into front court against Adrian Smith and stops on the left side. Passes to Hoagland, who brings it back out front with Cox playing him loosely. Off the right to Rochelle. Fakes a shot, breaks and shoots over Krigler. Good. Rochelle's 6th field goal, and again Vandy moves within 10 points. Here's Adrian Smith passing up to Krigler, who moves just in front court against Hoagland. Over to Adrian Smith, moving to the left. Time becoming valuable now. Both clubs as Kentucky leads by 10 points. Smith hands off to Johnny Brewer, deep in the pivot to Beck. Beck holds it out of play, then gives to Brewer. Breaks to the left against French. Turns, Rochelle stabbing for it, can't get it. Out to Beck to Brewer, down the left to Cox, breaks for the basket, leaves it in driving. Johnny Cox gets his 8th field goal, and the Cats again lead by 12 points, 85-73, as the teams fight away on even terms with 2 minutes, 50 seconds to go. Down the left side to Hoagland, and the double pivot for Vandy. Over to Rochelle, open on the free throw line, he hit it. Rochelle with his 7th field goal, again cuts Kentucky's lead to 10 points. Smith and Brewer work it against French. Up in front court to Krigler. Back to Adrian Smith, breaking to the right, going for the basket, and he walks with it out of bounds to Vanderbilt. Now Vanderbilt, trailing by 10 points with 2.5 minutes to go, for the first time has a chance to get within less than 10 points of the Cats in this half. Henry in front court gives to Hobby Gibbs. Breaks in against Beck, jumps to shoot, a whistle at the baseline. A foul on Kentucky. Ed Beck drawing the foul. It's his 4th one. Smith and Beck each have 4 now. Timeout Kentucky. It's their 3rd timeout with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go and a 10-point lead. Well, how about it? Will Kentucky now try to stall out? Should Vanderbilt, with the free throws coming, be able to move to within 8 points? They have not been able to get closer than 10 points to the Cats here in this second half. But here in the last few minutes, they have consistently been moving down to within 10 points, and now at the free throw line, will have a chance to cut Kentucky's lead to less than 10 points. Well, we'll see what Coach Adolph Rupp is deciding at this timeout, which Kentucky has called. Whether he wants to try to take whatever lead he has the next time he gets possession and try to slow it up and take only the good shots or none at all, we'll have only to see. Just 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the ball game, but of course in this kind of game, that's a lot of time. A warning horn sounds to go back to play. Up to the line is Hobby Gibbs. Gibbs, incidentally, has not missed. Vanderbilt has 3 men in the ball game that have not missed a free throw. Gibbs has 2 tries coming. Kentucky leading by 10 points, and now Gibbs on the free throw line. Shooting his first one, and it is good. So for the first time in the second half, Vanderbilt has cut inside 10 points on Kentucky. They now trail by 9. Here's the second shot by Gibbs, and it's good. So the score is 85-77. The Cats hold just an 8-point lead here with 2 minutes, 17 seconds to go. Smith gets it in front court, moves down the right side to the baseline, double team. High pass deep to Johnny Brewer, down the left side to Johnny Cox. Back out to Brewer. Brewer has it knocked down by French, and the ball's out of bounds to Kentucky. The clock stopped with 2 minutes, 4 seconds to go as French hooked the ball down into the end zone seat. Johnny Brewer's out of bounds on the left side of Kentucky's offensive court to put it in play. Kentucky 85, Vanderbilt 77. Bounce pass comes into Adrian Smith. Breaks to the right side. Gives over to Krigler. Out to Brewer. 15-foot jump shot is no good by Brewer. Taken off by Rochelle of Vanderbilt. As we go into the last 2 minutes, he breaks in against Smith and shoots his blocks. He's shot into the braces of the backcourt on a fine play by Adrian Smith. Vanderbilt has it to the left of the basket over the baseline. 1 minute, 45 seconds to go. Out of bounds, Al Rochelle. Gives in. Left open. Henry shoots and hits. Henry of Vanderbilt gets his 4th field goal. Kentucky now leads by just 6 points. 85-79. Krigler in front court has the ball knocked down by Rochelle, but he picks it up. Hands to Adrian Smith. In the pivot to Beck. Back to Brewer. He shoots good. Johnny Brewer lays in his 3rd field goal of the game, and Kentucky leads 87-79 again by 8 points. Vanderbilt had moved to within 6 points. Now moving up in front court. Rochelle goes down the side. 1 minute, 13 seconds to go as he breaks on Krigler. Comes by Beck, fakes, and walks with it, and it's out of bounds to Kentucky. Adrian Smith out of bounds, looks for somebody open. Looping bounce pass to Krigler. Gives over to Adrian Smith, gets by Rochelle, stops. Rochelle didn't hit him, though, as he had hoped. And he moves on up in front court. Moves down the right side, drops the ball, picks it up, gets it out to Brewer, into Krigler. Wide open, he lays it in. Now John Krigler of Kentucky, dropping in the field goal, his fifth of the game, gives Cats another 10-point lead. Henry of Vandy takes a jump shot, no good. Beautiful rebound by Johnny Cox of Kentucky. And with 38 seconds to go, the Cats have the ball up to Beck in front court to Adrian Smith. 10-point Kentucky lead. Adrian Smith moves into the free throw line. Here's a jump shot, no good. Bounces off to the right. Hoagland picks it up for Vandy with 27 seconds to go. Over to Jimmy French. Moves up past the midcourt stripe. Krigler stabs and misses. Down the right to Hobby Gibbs. Breaks out. Passes in there, and Hoagland hooks and hits. Hoagland with his second field goal cuts Kentucky's lead down to 8 points. Here's a high pass from Brewer into Krigler. 10 seconds to go as he has it taken away from him and fouls, trying to get it back. John Krigler has hurt his leg. His right leg has been hurt. Ed Beck races in with trainer Rusty Payne coming off the bench. Whether it's a muscle cramp or not, we do not know, with 7 seconds to go. John Krigler's foul is his fourth one. Ironically, Krigler committed the first 3 fouls of the ball game. 7 seconds to play. Kentucky leading by 89-81. And let's see how badly Krigler may be hurt. Kentucky starting forward, who has been in the game all the way. The same can be said, of course, for Ed Beck and Johnny Cox. They've gone all the way here tonight. Jerry Calvert, who led the tremendous first half offensive explosion by Kentucky, fouled out with 9 minutes, 49 seconds to go. And Lincoln Collinsworth is going to come into the Kentucky lineup. He's known as Abe to his teammates, 20-year-old junior from Salyersville. Known as Abe, he was born on Abe Lincoln's birthday, so he'll soon be 21. He's a junior, 6'3", weighs 185. Has scored 6 points this season, 4 of them against Washington and Lee. Nice hand for Krigler, who's on his feet and walking with very little assistance from trainer Rusty Payne. We don't know. Of course, you can tell that we're making only a wild stab in the dark, but it seemed to us to merely be a muscle cramp that hit Krigler either in the calf of the leg or in the foot. Kentucky 89, Vanderbilt 81. The foul against Krigler will send the Commodores' Jim Henry to the free throw line. Henry on the line has hit 11 free throws as the Commodores have stayed within 8 points of Kentucky at the free throw line. Henry shoots and hits, draws the bonus shot. We have only 7 seconds to play. Kentucky leading by 89-82. Vanderbilt's been within 6 points on this half. Second shot good, and Vandy again's within 6 points. Abe Collinsworth gets the ball, whips in front court to Johnny Brewer with a whistle at the back. 2 men took Collinsworth to the floor. Let's see which one of them is going to be charged with a foul. It's on French of Vandy. It's his second one of the ball game with only 3 seconds to go. That, incidentally, robbed Kentucky of 2 points since Johnny Brewer had nobody on him. Collinsworth, just in the ball game, will go to the free throw line for 1 shot. 3 seconds to play. He shoots, and he got it after 3 bounces on the rim. Hoagland, snowbirding, was caught by Brewer, who seemed to let him go, and then made a run at him and sends Hoagland back up into Kentucky's front court. Collinsworth has given Kentucky a 7-point lead, and his bonus shot, good, makes it 91-83. Use the backboard then. 3 seconds to go. Pass to French, who slams the ball from 70 feet, misses everything, and the game is over. The Cats have done it. Score, Kentucky 91, Vanderbilt 83. And the Cats were on top by 22 points at one time in the first half. Individual scoring in just a moment. You know, from time to time, a player appears in the basketball scene who just can't miss. Every shot he makes is good for a point. When it comes to lubrication, your Standard Oil dealer is a man who just doesn't miss either. Standard Oil dealers have up-to-the-minute files of lubrication specifications showing the manufacturing engineer's recommendations for your make and model automobile. When you pull into a Standard Oil station, you can depend on getting pinpoint accurate, complete lubrication everywhere it's needed. Throughout the job, only finest quality Standard Oil lubricants are used, ensuring longer-lasting, better protection for your car. Play it safe. It costs no more. Say the man who doesn't miss for Kaiso Lubrication today, your Standard Oil dealer. Vanderbilt has been beaten on its home floor for the first time in 27 games. Kentucky led 49-36. Vanderbilt had only one lead at 8-6 as they came from behind 6-2 to go on top by 2 points. Then Kentucky started the run that saw them eventually open it to 40-18 in the early going. Vanderbilt made up much of the difference at the free throw line as Kentucky hit for 22 field goals in the first half. The Cats picked up 14 in the second half as Kentucky racked up a total of 36 field goals. Vanderbilt matched Kentucky. They outscored Kentucky on field goals in the second half by 1. The Commodores ended up with 25 field goals, or 11 fewer. That gives you an idea of how much the free throws again meant in this ball game. Last year, when Kentucky played Vanderbilt here, Vanderbilt beat them by 8 points, although Kentucky had a 5 field goal edge, 29-24. So it meant the Commodores outscored them by 18 free throws. And tonight, they've come close to doing the same thing. The great offensive play of Jerry Calvert in the first half was one of the contributing factors. He fouled out with 9 minutes, 49 seconds to play, and a total of 23 points. He ended up with 11 field goals, 10 of them in the first half, where he hit 1 out of 2 on the free throw line. Calvert's 21 points is the best scoring demonstration of any Kentuckian this season. Johnny Cox picked up 4 field goals in each half, and he matched Calvert with 23 points, but Johnny Cox played 40 minutes, and Calvert played, we would guess, at something less than 20 minutes. Abe Collinsworth, the reserve, in the last 7 seconds got a pair of free throws and 2 points. Harold Ross, the reserve guard in the second half, scored 1 point as he hit 1 out of 2 at the free throw line. Ed Beck contributed 9 points, his average, 4 field goals and a free throw. Beck had 6 of his 9 points in the second half. Earl Atkins got 2 points on a field goal in the first half. John Krigler tonight, who was injured, we do not know how seriously, 13 points. Krigler had 5 field goals and 3 out of 5 free throws. Adrian Smith tonight, in this, his first starting assignment, 10 points, 4 field goals, 2 out of 3 in the free throw line. He pretty well divided them up, 4 and 6 in the halves. And 8 points scored by Johnny Brewer. Brewer scored those in a reserve role in the second half. 3 field goals, 2 free throws. Bill Cassidy, incidentally, was the only Kentuckian who played, and Coach Adolph Rupp tonight used 11 men. Cassidy was the only one who didn't score. He missed the free throw in his only try. Well, Vanderbilt made another great game out of it, as they had the lead, as we said, just 1 time. But they battled and finally came to within 6 points of Kentucky late in the ball game. But from there, they could not crack the barrier. It took them some 6 or 7 minutes to finally break inside the 10-point Kentucky lead. Kentucky finally won by 91-83, a margin of 8 points, exactly what they lost by here last year. Henry had 13 free throws. He ended up with 4 field goals, total of 21 points. So that again matches last year, where Al Rochelle had 24 points on 4 field goals. Henry tonight has 21 points on 4 field goals. Rochelle tonight hit the field goals, however, which he did not do last year as a junior. Tonight, Rochelle was the backbone of the Vanderbilt offense in the second half, where Vandy was making the strong run at Kentucky. He hit 7 out of 8 free throws, missed only his last try at the line, and ended up with Henry 21 points. So Vanderbilt starting guards, Henry and Rochelle, divide 42 points. Don Hinton, who started at center, was held to 1 point as he hit 1 out of 2 on the free throw line in the first half. Bobby Tim tonight, who was taken out of the game after 4 personal fouls and Vandy wanted the speed, came up with a total of 16 points. Tim had 15 last year. He had 6 field goals and hit 4 free throws while missing 4. Jimmy French, little 5'7" guard, came in to contribute 2 points and a pair of free throws. Hub Hoagland added 4 points and 2 field goals. Don Bates did not score. He did not play in the second half. And 6 points for Bob Greger, who came in and sparked Vandy's rally with 6 points, 2 field goals, and 2 free throws. And the captain, Hobby Gibbs, tonight, contributed 12 points on 4 field goals and 4 free throws, and there's the scoring. For Kentucky tonight, we have them hitting 36 of 74 shots. Gives the Cats 48.6%. On the free throw line, they hit 19 out of 25. So Kentucky now has a record of 13-3 as they got their 13th win of the season here tonight. The Cats now have a record of 4 wins and 1 loss in the Southeastern Conference, which, by the way, now draws them even with Tulane. However, the Cats and Tulane are tied, but as they both hit the 800 mark, Tulane will hold the edge, since if Kentucky and Tulane should win all the rest of their games, Tulane would be the SEC representative in the NCAA tournament because they beat Kentucky in the only meeting of the season between the teams. Well, Kentucky will be back in action again on Monday night. Tonight, incidentally, they led by 13 points at halftime, 49-36. Personal fouls caused them a lot of trouble, though, as Adrian Smith and Jerry Calvert, the 2 starting guards, had each committed 4 fouls in the first half. Vanderbilt took advantage of it as the Vanderbilt guards, Henry and Rochelle, ran at Kentucky's guards, and they finally got Calvert, who nonetheless was able to play 10 minutes and 11 seconds before he committed his last personal foul. And he committed it offensively, too, going for the basket, as Johnny Cox and Jerry Calvert lead the Cats each with 23 points. Calvert, incidentally, is only 11 behind Johnny Cox in the scoring. Well, Vanderbilt behind 13 points at the halftime. They were behind 22 points early, or in the midway the first half. 40-18 they were behind, but they closed it to 13 at halftime. And Kentucky won the ball game by 8 points. Means Vanderbilt outscored Kentucky by 5 points in the second half. Last year here, when Kentucky was beaten by 8 points, the Cats led by only 2 points at halftime. Tonight they had it up to 13. Well, those are the highlights from tonight's Kentucky-Vanderbilt game. We'd like to thank our engineer, David Benz, of Nashville radio station WLAC. And this reminder for you to be with us again on next Monday night, January 28th, when Standard Oil Company and Standard Oil dealers throughout Kentucky, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, and Mississippi will bring you the game between U of K and Georgia Tech from Atlanta. Be sure to listen in. Stay alert, save a life in winter weather. That's the lifeline of the month from the National Safety Council. Especially during the bad weather months, no driver can afford to drop his constant guard. Look alive. Now, this is Claude Sullivan speaking from Memorial Gym on the campus of Vanderbilt University here in Nashville, Tennessee, wishing you good night and a pleasant weekend. Your final score again, Kentucky 91, Vanderbilt 83. This is the Standard Oil Sports Network.